Guy channel. The Car Guy channel. My name is Mike Hennessy. This show is all about cars and all four car guys. Get yourself a cold beer. Get yourself a cold beer, guys, because our show is... We are smoking! I'm Mike Hennessy, and you're watching the Car Guy channel. I have an auto repair shop. I've been in the business for over 30 years. You name it, we got it, we built it, we've done it, we do it. We love this car stuff, and I hope you guys do too. We're gonna have a lot of fun, got a lot of stuff cooking, so just stay tuned. Welcome to the Car Guy channel, and it's just great to be back doing episodes, doing the car stuff. People are bringing cars in and stuff. We got a great show for you today. But there's a couple things I want to bring up from the beginning. I said before, send some pictures of your cars and stuff, and we're going to put up a few pictures, and there's Skip and there's Vicky. Now, these two went ahead and they sold a home over in Montana. They bought another home in New Mexico, and things in their lives are really going fantastic, and she's a wonderful gal. Skip's a great guy. So first thing he does, he sold a piece of property out there, put a little bit of money together. He goes out and buys himself a Polaris Razr. Now, the Polaris Razr, they're pretty expensive. These things are almost $50,000, but he has the four-wheel drive unit from hell, and I'm so proud of Skip. He came down, I saw him, I had a car trailer here, threw a car trailer at him for him to go ahead and get it, and he's going to get a toy hauler to put into it later on, but he kind of needs to get his house set up over in New Mexico, which is pretty cool. But we're going to show you a few clips of his Razr that he goes ahead and buys. These Razrs are fantastic. This one happens to be turbocharged, and it does everything you want it to do, so doing some off-roading. He's kind of retired. That's what he wants to do. Get out there and enjoy this stuff. Check out some pictures of Skip's Razr here at the beginning of the show. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na. Yip, 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 mum, 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 mum. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na. Every morning about this time she gets me out of my bed to cry and get a job. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na. After breakfast every day she throws the warnings right my way and never fails to say. So I want to thank Skip and Vicky for sending that in. And Vicky, hold on to this guy. He's going to go out there and he's going to take that thing all the way far as it can go. Skip, have some fun with it. But hey, got a lot of great stuff on the show. We're going to bring you guys some progress of the 56 Chevy four-door Bel Air. It's coming along fantastic. You got to see it, and the paint is even better than we even thought on the car. Got to bring you up to speed a little bit on a Corvair that we're working on for my good buddy Mark. Got a street rod behind me that we're going to, we might be doing some more episodes on it, but people want to know about these, and these are just so spectacular. Hot Tennessee Nights is looking good. The date as tentatively now is August 28th. So mark it on your calendar. I know I've been getting tons of emails about car shows and events. Right now we are good to go for August 28th. We're going to make a lot of things in the show. Some changes going to be at Hot Tennessee Nights. Obviously, we do got the protocols to be concerned about the mask and things like that, but we're about 6 months away. I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. I really do. We got a couple bands lined up for Big Mike and the Heartbeats, or we're going to go ahead and get Lion Eyes. We got a couple bands ready to go, and some of the neat things we're going to do, we're going to be honoring a lot of great people at the show. A lot of first responders we're going to be honoring this year, and event producers that could not put on any car shows and events. Like, you got Tiger Turnick, which is a very good friend of mine. He also does a show in Saratoga. And then we got Alan Greenberg, Alan Lucy, do the show of the History Park, and a lot of others. Steve Perdone. There's a lot of people out there. Pete Paulson is out there also doing car shows, and there's a good list of others. We'll have it on our website pretty soon. So sit back, get yourself a cold one, and enjoy the show. Hey, let me bring everybody up to speed what's going on the 56 Chevy. I told you I was going to let you know what's going on, how we're doing it, how we're building it. And because the episode last week, I have had tons of emails and comments, had a couple of phone calls, which is always pretty good. It seems to be more popular than I kind of thought. This Sierra Gold color, I'm telling you, is just spectacular. So what we did is, after the last show, we had the guys go ahead and they actually polish this car, put a cleaner on it, and this thing here feels smooth as a baby's butt. It's fantastic. All the paint came out just beautiful on the car, and we got the doors back on. So last time you saw it, there was no doors on the car. Starting to get the trim on, and if you know, Estelle's going to get some shots at the front end. The front bumpers were not on. The grill wasn't in. Polishing all the trim that goes in the front of the car. This car's coming along really pretty good. Now, kind of the neat thing is they always, got to know what you own. What did we get? What did we buy? What problems do we got? What parts do we got to get? There's a small handful of parts we have to get. They're coming down from Dan Chuck They're sending them over. Been great to work with. These guys have been phenomenal, except for one small issue I do have. The interior for the car, I call it the slow boat from China. The material for the car is going to take almost 16 weeks to get, for the seat covers, the door panels, the carpets, the headliner. All the trim that's going to go inside the car is pretty much about 6 weeks out before we get it. So we're going to try to get a lot done in this car, and we're going to show you the progress really as the shows are going along. Since we're able to go ahead and start filming, we got Estelle out of the house for COVID. She's got her shots going. I got my shots going. So things are going really pretty good, and we're going to kind of at a fast rate of speed, which is pretty good. But just to bring you up to speed on this car, we got the motor running. Put the key in it, fired it up, put some gas in there, and the motor sounds spectacular. Now, last time you ever saw the car did not have the doors on it. Two doors were just kind of barely on the car. I think with the two back doors were just barely on, not adjusted or anything. We have them all adjusted and tightened now. But on the doors, the passenger and the driver's side door, we put all new chrome handles. We put new locks in there, all the gaskets around here, gaskets in here, polished the stainless that sits on the top. And glass makes a big deal with a car. I feel glass is a home run. Now, in the Chevrolet era, they had a glass and it was called Easy Eye. Easy Eye was kind of a light tinted tone to the glass itself. And the VIN numbers and the code numbers of certain cars that came with Easy Eye will tell you that code has Easy Eye. Well, we had a few pieces of glass in the car, the original, that was horrible. Broken glass, not very good, cracks and whatnot. So there's a couple of ways to do it. We actually had two new ones in stock, but they were clear, not the green tint, not the Easy Eye. So I went ahead and had all new glass cut. We got 1, 2, and 3. We'll have 3 for each side. For being a 4-door, it's a hard top, so we're going to have, so I went ahead and replaced it with Easy Eye. Now, to give you an idea really what Easy Eye, the camera can pick up on it. We set this glass back here, and it kind of has a green tint to it. If I put my hand right here, and I put my hand back here, you can see a little bit of a green tint to it. And that right there is the definition. You can actually see the Adobe white color here, Adobe beige actually on the car, and then see the difference, same Adobe there, and you see a little bit of the green tint there. That's kind of a quick way to tell, you know, what the glass is. And it does, I think it's going to make a difference. This car really is more on the light, on the darker sides of things, you know, the Sierra Gold, kind of a copper color, the Adobe beige, you know, a little more in the darker colors, not a bright white with that. I think it's a good contrast, and that's really why we went with the darker gunmetal gray, the metallic gunmetal gray, for the center of the rims. There's a lot of colors we could have chose. We even thought about doing the same color as the car. I don't know. You guys out there might go ahead and send me a note on that one. I'll take the heat on it. But we decided to go with these, and I'm really pleased that we did. Helps be my taste. It looks pretty good. Let's show you inside the car. Show you what we got. Now check out the inside of this car. When you saw it last time, none of this stuff here was done. Steering wheel wasn't put together nor adjusted on it. Steering wheel right here was pre-painted really when we bought the car. Had a lot of new stuff. The new horn ring, the decal in the very center of the steering wheel. And like I mentioned on the show before, it's a 3-bar. All Bel Airs had 3-bar steering wheels. You got 1, 2, 3. You got 3 bars. Other cars had a 2-bar. We got the radio here ready to go in. We're wiring it all in. Everything is all painted. It's beautiful inside the car. That's where we're waiting to, we'll do that after we put the glass in on the detail, get the stereo in the car. So we don't want to butcher up the dash and do a lot of crazy stuff. So we got this particular setup here. This bolts into the dash. It's set up it's from a company called Concourse. They sell them that goes into cars. I don't want to say they're the best radio in the world. I don't want to fool anybody here, but it will be good sound for it. Someone, whoever buys it or what the next step would go with this car, can upgrade it if they wish. But I think this is going to be really, really better than satisfactory for the car. But you're seeing this, how we're putting it together, so it kind of gives you a good idea on how this car is coming, and I think it's coming along just great. We're going to talk about a car, 1966 Chevrolet Corvair. But there's more to this car. I happen to be blessed in life to have a few very, very good friends. And one of my number one very good friends is Mark. Mark is the owner of this Corvair. I tease him about it. He teases me about it. He brings it to every show. And I tell you one thing, he's probably the most biggest-hearted individual. Him and his wife, they support animal rescue stuff. The list can go on. The show's not about Mark, but I do got to mention he's just a great guy. And he loves this Corvair. Yes, and he actually has a Nomad. He has a Mustang. He's got a Mustang Fastback. It's been on the show. He's owned other cars on the show. But he's had this Corvair for a long, long time. And when I mean long, I'm going to say nearly over 25 years. So we decided to go ahead and say, Mark, let's get something done. bring it off the pot. Let's get this car here looking good. Let's get it ready for Hot Tennessee Nights to be coming up here in August this year. Yes, August 28th in 2021 over at Reed Hill Airport. We're going to have this Corvair there on display, but we went ahead and just painted this car. Still's going to show you some clips of pictures we've took as this car here was going together. Now, Corvair had such a crazy stigma in its years. Ralph Nader, he basically, I don't want to, there's a word I want to use in the show and I just can't use it, but he had a vendetta against Corvair, and he thought they're unsafe, not a good car to be on the road. And it's kind of crazy because Corvair had a full line of cars. They had a 2-door hardtop, they had a convertible, they had a 4-door, they had a ramp side, they had a van, they had a wagon, and I'm telling you, they're really a fun car and they're a great car. The car was actually so spectacular in its day, you know, being on 164 cc's on the motor, 164 cubic inch on the engine, that Don Yanko went ahead and built a Corvair called the Corvair Stinger. And that car, Jay Leno happens to have one. They were white with blue stripes on them, and they didn't have turbochargers. They had the 4 carburetors, which work absolutely spectacular. But they made about 100,000 Corvairs in its year, every year. Corvairs were a big seller. People did like them. The reason why they got taken off the road was really because of a man by the name of Ralph Nader. He was an attorney that went after the product, didn't like it, thought it was unsafe. Time and history changed it. Corvair started in 1960, ended in 1969, had a pretty good run. There were a lot of cars out there, and I really believe that a Corvair is a good collectible car. You can get into one in some of the budget zones if you feel that anything's in a budget zone, but they're a fun car to do. Parts are available. Clark's Corvair has tons of parts for these things, and others are remanufacturing parts. We're finding that out. But I'm going to show you some other things about this car I think you're really going to be impressed with. I feel what makes these cars, just like the 56 Chevy in the wheels, is the attention to detail. Now, these right here have wire wheel covers. Now, there's a difference between a wheel cover and a hubcap. And if you really want to know that, Mark will correct you if you say wheel cover versus hubcap. If it covers the whole wheel, it's a wheel cover. It's a dog dish style, that's a hubcap. But these are wires. We took all these apart and we painted the black insert in the inside. Danny took them all apart. It took him hours to do. But when you see this, it is period correct for the Corvair, and I think it's a great touch on the car. I'm glad we went that avenue. When you get the wheel covers looking so darn good like it is, because of all the trim, we bought a lot of this stuff and we polished some of it, all new emblems, wheel well moldings, new mirrors. We got brand new glass for the car. This thing is just turning out beautiful. Now, we are having a couple issues with the chrome. The bumpers, they're going to be about 6 weeks out. And a lot of stuff are behind because some businesses can only get stuff done so fast. But let's check under the trunk is in the front. And I hope you're not tired of hearing it, but I always see attention to detail. All the new rubber through the car, all that was removed before we had Ricky go ahead and shoot this car and paint it. And all that looks really nice under the hood. We'll be touching up the bolts after we have the hood adjusted on there. It just looks beautiful. And this is a white. It's a little whiter than the original Emerine white that was 1966 that was put onto the cars. But why I want to show you this was the attention to detail as far as we Zolotoned, and actually another way it's called spatter paint. But Zolotone is the brand name. And really, it's very difficult to buy. You have to order it online. California has some issues with it. But we have a special spray gun that gives us a little bit on the thick zone, and we spray it all inside here. And we put the new washer tank in there. They're nickels and dimes, guys and gals. It's not that big of a deal. Put one in there, look at the difference it made. Some little bit of vacuum hose. You're talking nickels and dimes. And put that in there, it looks nice. Danny and Raul's been teaming on this. Ed's been teaming on. It's been kind of a team shop project. And of course the bumpers right here, all the little rubber things, all these details just mean so much. And when you come to the headlights of the car, we were showing you some pictures of all the detail work. Now, on these headlights, you're going to see a frame. Now, it might not look much to you, or I don't know if you're going to catch this, but all the inside of these things are all hand painted. Danny K painted all these by hand and then polished these after we went ahead and put them on the car. There's a lot of work. I'd actually challenge to see a nicer Corvair than this one. This is great. Now, just because it's a Corvair and that uniqueness and rareness of the car, a lot of GM parts really kind of mix match. If I explain it right, these door handles are on the same other breeds of cars also. Just like the windshield on a convertible Corvair is the same in a 1965 Buick Skylark, believe it or not. So those are some of the things you can kind of use certain books to find out. Hollander has a book will tell you what parts interchange. But all new door handles, when I open the doors, you're going to see that the little rubber bumpers on the bottom, the new rubber here, the seal plates, and what I want Estelle to get a picture of, and she doesn't know this yet, but this right here has an option on the car that is called telescopic steering. So when you get a shot of the steering wheel, it's actually telescopic. We're not completely done with it yet, but installed. Mark had this in storage for a long time and they put into the car. Corvairs did have options. They had air conditioning. They had all kinds of interesting options for Corvairs, believe it or not. But telescopic steering is extremely rare, and this car here has it. Check it out. You know, I'm going to explain something on the show. If you guys are watching, this is something kind of like the guy world, gals. I'm not picking on men or women or whatnot, but guys kind of hack on each other. And some guys get offended. Hey, Mike didn't call me an SOB or something, you know, must be mad at me. Well, I was teasing Mark really. I said, this car's coming out so nice. You're actually seeing a lot of this, the work in progress, because we're really not technically finished with it yet. And so we're talking about the top, and the car's just looking so spectacular. I really think it is. I really love the car. And I said, Mark, I said, you know, the top's kind of shrinking up here. And he goes, that top's brand new. And I said, really? He says, yeah, it was put on in 1998. It was brand new, and he put it in the garage. Just because you put it on brand new in 1998 does not mean it's brand new today. I got a big chuckle out of it. I meet a lot of guys that have a car, go, yeah, I had my car oil changed. I oil changed it. I haven't driven it much. And only driven it maybe a couple hundred miles. You got to change that oil twice a year, guys and gals. It doesn't matter. You still got to service this stuff. Just because it's a straight rod, custom built car, they all need service. And Mark, we're going to have to talk to you about a top. Maybe send some letters into me and I'll get them to Mark. He needs a top. Let's check out the horsepower back here. Now, to be clear, really what this car is, this is a Corsa. They had a Monza, and then they had the Corsa. The Corsa is kind of the upbeat Corvair in the Corvair world. The back of this car, this is the first year, 1966, of the panel that was separated, and it's painted. We did this here in the correct silver, Sebring silver for the back of the car. All new lenses, all new trim, looks just great. And of course the emblems on the car. This right here is a 140. This means that this car here is 140 horsepower. In a Corvair this light, you know, you put your pedal to the metal, this car here scoots and keep up with almost pretty much anything out there. Let's check out under the hood. Show you this. Like I told you earlier, this car is 164 cubic inches, all aluminum motor, simply just like a Porsche would be. The rocker arms are the same rocker arms you would find on a Chevy 327, 350, the push rods. A lot of those parts are integrated into the Corvair motor. This here happens to be the 4 carbureted model. That means this car here has 140 horsepower. The turbocharged Corvair that they had, they're a little bit troublesome to keep going. They weren't as dependable, but those cars had 160 horsepower. Some say 180, 160. It's determined who's measuring the horsepower or what bench and how much you're drinking when you're talking about the horsepower. But this right here is a good, clean picture of what it is under the hood. You got the 4 carbs, and a 4-carb just works good. We rebuilt all the carburetors, replaced all the lines in this car, and it sounds and runs absolutely spectacular. You know, doing a car like this was a pleasure to do it because a person like Mark wants to get things done. He actually came down to the shop. He said, you know, at this time and stage of my life, let's do it right. So he orders all the front end pieces for the car. We had to rebuild the steering box. There's none available. So we had to go to Straight Line Steering and send it over there. And they really like their work and they really like the job. And I do think it came out good. It's just so pricey because that's a Corvair only part. That is designed for Corvair, only meant for that particular car. So we put new steering box in there. The shocks are done on the car, brakes all the way around, all the suspension, and I'm just very pleased to do a car like this. You're going to be seeing it as we're going along, but let's check out a couple more cool shop projects.
So what you got here, this is an alternator inside of a generator body. So you get your old school rat rods or hot rods that came with a generator. The guys want to retain that original look, but the generators just don't perform like an alternator does. So they pack that thing full of an alternator, and it's good to go.
So this right here, even like 64 thing, we'll get Mark about the half thing. He's on the half thing today. But 64 and a half Mustangs were Ford products. From 65 on down ran generators.
Exactly.
So these right here are custom built. These are kind of cool, guys. This is kind of neat. I don't know if you guys know these things are out there. So hold this thing here. Then we'll do it one more time here.
You play.
We got right back here, and you got the diode trio in the background right there. This right here is probably the heat sink plate. Got the diode trio back here.
Mm-hmm.
It is now. Is this an internal regulator?
Yes, it is.
Oh, so it's a one wire.
You got a one wire. You plug it and go.
It's pretty darn cool. One wire generator. Excellent. Good job. Hey, you want to host the show? He can host the show next. We'll get Mark to host the show next time, and just go ahead and say whatever you want to say. It's all yours.
We'll be back with the Car Guy channel just before you know it.
Don't turn off your set. Don't run away. Yes, this is a 1963 Plymouth Valiant. What a car. And I've got to show you might see me around town. I do drive this thing. And it's probably, I think, one of the most sterile and cleanest Valiants around. And it was just kind of one of those cars that kind of geeky and kind of different. But there's something about it. This car right here is all original. This car is absolutely stunning all the way through. There's not a ding. There's not a dent in it. And Estelle will show you being a little two-door coupe. An automatic car, easy to drive. My wife Susan got a big kick out of it. She said her grandfather had one. Actually, his was a little older because had the spare tire built on the deck lid on the back. But when I brought this home, but let me show you under the hood to give you an idea the quality level of this Valiant. This car right here came out of a collection of cars that I got. I really had no idea the quality level of it because it was covered in the garage. The car cover had stuff all over it. So I'm assuming the tow truck driver just hooks all the stuff up. You got to get it out of there. And this was almost a year ago to date when we got pretty much most of this collection of cars. This happens to be one of them. And there's something about it. There's something about why I like it. It's very period correct. Yes, guys and gals, it's not the V8. It's not the 400 horsepower. It doesn't have the special suspension. It's just a period of time that I'm hoping a lot of us will remember and see it and kind of put a little bit of a smile on your face, because you guys and gals drive your cars out there. You know, that's part of the charm. People enjoy your product, they enjoy what your interest is. And even though this isn't probably everybody's cup of tea, there's just something about this car because of the date of an early 60s automobile. That was a budget car. It was a 6-cylinder, easy on gas, easy to drive, air conditioning in it. And this is just really a fun piece inside and out. Estelle's going to go over the camera with this car and kind of put a smile on your face, and I'll show you something else too. I showed you on the show last week a 44 that I'm going to be going ahead and get rid of that's out of my collection. I happen to have a 1937 Ford. Now, this car here has been through a good buddy of mine. That's how I purchased the car. Ralph, you just don't meet a nicer man. Ralph passed away almost 2 years ago. And this is a really, really cool car. And so I got it from the family, and it's time for me to go ahead and sell it. It's time to go. But it's an all-steel car, 1937 Ford. The grill, that's only 1937, looks like that. This is really neat. The motor is a Corvette LT1 engine in the car, all fuel injected, 700R transmission, disc brakes, air conditioning, the list goes on. But look at the detail on this. Why I really got this car, I like things that are done professionally, done well. We had to do a lot of work on the car on our own, actually, when I got it, because it was still needing to be finished up. Bumpers and brackets and all sorts of things, and a lot of stuff under the hood. But the interior is one of the things in the car that I really like the most. I got to show it to you. I'm going to go straight to the interior, then we'll hit under the hood. Let's check it out. The attention to detail, the attention to quality is what this car is all about. You got to check out the headliner on top, the seats, the dash, the leatherwork, the carpets, the door panels. I'm not going to say much. I'm going to let Estelle take the camera in here, and you let me know. This car here is spectacular. Engine compartment to me means a lot, and I think to a lot of you guys and gals do too, and that's why people show under the car. That's where the details are. That's where the workmanship comes in. You can see a lot of hoods lift up and you go, oh my God, close the frickin' hood. Something doesn't look right, you know? This is not that type of car. This is professionally done and it's just beautiful. And of course the covers that go on the fuel injection system are painted the red, so they kind of match with the car. Chrome alternator, chrome air conditioning. There's so much under here, you really can't see it all. The firewall is a complete closed-in piece with everything behind it. And it just shows the professionalism on the car, how well it was built. This car has four-wheel disc brakes. it just doesn't get much better than this for the street rod world. And the other thing is, I really hated to say this on the show. I thought about it twice if I should or shouldn't. When these cars are built, the money it costs to build this car was well over $100,000, maybe more, quite a bit. And then, of course, comes the resale side. The money kind of chips down. And if somebody's thinking of buying one done, something like this, that's where the good buys come in. When you see cars go through the Mecum and Barrett Jackson and some of the other big auction companies out there, they're finished products. Some are a pretty good buy. Building one has a lot to do with your heart and desire, like we do. Somebody has a certain way of building it. I always admire somebody building it the way they want it, or a certain color that they like. Maybe not everybody likes, but this car here, to me, was built for great resale. The color's fantastic. The motor choice is very good. You know, you got the doe skin tan inside. You got the ruby red on the outside. Check out the engine. It's beautiful. Again, when you see a lot of quality cars, when you look under the dash, look all around underneath the car and around, always look under the trunk. You can see a lot of quality was done. They actually put the gas cap inside the back of the trunk. It is sealed, which I do like that. Fuel injected car, they're all sealed anyway, so it does have a return line going to the gas. You can see how all the interior work is done. Got a little bit of a mark there we got to clean up, but everything here is just really nice. They've done a really nice job on this car. A lot of stuff we finished off to make it, what I felt, a little bit better or bring up the quality level on it, because I do want to sell it, and it's just beautiful. And I wanted you to see that with the chrome bumper brackets. I thought really was a nice touch, better than painting them black. So a lot of these little detailed touches make a big difference. Check that out. I got to show you this 1941 Cadillac. Now, this is owned by a very, very dear friend of mine. And I've known Jack really, I would have to say maybe the last 4 years, could be the last 5 years. He happens to own this 1941 Cadillac. And what this car does, every time I see it, it's in for service and a few things, it brings you back in time. What was the guy thinking? He goes in there, the type of buyer that buys his 1941 Cad. This is a Series 62. This car here, the guy had to have money, had to be well-to-do. This is right before the war. Things were happening. And so when you kind of think back how this really worked in 1942, they all had V8 engines. And these engines were used in tanks. They were used in all kinds of things. So they were very, very dependable. And I wanted to show you this car just so you can see really what a 1941 Cad. Now, this car here, a lot of this car is mostly original. And I love Survivors. Survivors are really the way to go. But having a Survivor car like this is just spectacular. It's a pleasure to work on it. Jack likes the car right. You fix it, you send him a bill. That's about how it's done. Just fix it right and you'll work the bill out. And this is the way it should be done. And all the chrome on the car is just spectacular. So I'm real pleased about it. Check it out. Check out the inside. It's absolutely beautiful. I really hope you enjoyed the show today. A little bit cool here today because actually it hailed for the first time in San Jose basically in the last 15 years. It was kind of crazy weather. So it set up the shooting time, took a little bit of work. With Estelle standing there, fingertips are getting cold. I know my wife Susan's going to say, make sure Estelle stays warm. But I want to thank everybody for watching the Car Guy channel and dealing with a lot of things we've been dealing with out there. God bless you. Stay safe. Let's all get through this all together, and I'm going to see you guys at the next event.
They're shooting the pier. At Rincon, they're walking the nose. We're going on safari to the islands this year, so if you're coming, get ready to go. Come surf, baby, wait and see.